Yeah.
Let's talk about warming up. That's also, quite an important aspect of being a drummer.
Yeah.
But you've got live gigs, you've got recording sessions, you've got clinics and things like that. Do you apply the same routine before each of those gigs, or is it slightly different because the gig is actually different?
Not really. I mean, I use quite the same type of warming ups before a gig or before a clinic or before a studio session. I believe basically the really simple things. I mean, I do the warming ups like with single stroke rolls in quite slow tempo, because I try to warm up with the perfect control, and to get the perfect control, it's not necessary to play fast tempo. If I lose up my hands during 20 minutes or 30 minutes on a practice pad or on a pillow or here on my leg, I think this is enough. So I basically don't use really complicated things for warming up. Just the simple things and slow tempo. And also I try to concentrate to slow down my motions. It gives me a kind of more relaxed attitude for starting a clinic or a gig, because when we start to play, we are full with energy. We want to communicate something, and that could make a kind of bad effect for the first 20-30 minutes. So that's why I try to be more relaxed, deep breath, and just play slow things, not the fast things. If I have chance to practice 1 hour before a clinic, that's good, but it's not necessary, I think.
And what about when on the road? Do you practice, or is it that there's quite a number of drummers who just, because they play every day, they decide practicing would be too much because you can overdo it as well, right? So what's your approach when you're on the road?
I think when I'm touring, I think that's time for playing, not the practicing. So of course I try to warm up every day, but it's almost impossible to set up the drum set somewhere else before the gig and then raise down the drum set and you take it to the venue and set up it again. So it would take a lot of energy, and I try to usually when I'm on the road, and I did, for example, the first gig, I just had an experience like what was the greatest moments of the gig, and what was the more weak points, what I want to change. And I think it will be happen mentally. It's not necessary to sit behind the drum set to figure out the things. If I would need to sit behind the drum set, that would be a bigger problem, because if I had to figure out the things behind the drum set, maybe I don't know the tunes, or I don't know the repertoire, or the tempos are too fast or too slow or something. So that's why we have to be well prepared before a tour. And during the tour, I think we just have to play and not practicing, just to warm up and play, and then after the tour, of course, when I'm not touring, I had much more time to practice. I have some days off at home, and I can get into my practice room and lock the door and switch out the phone and just really focused on one thing what I want to develop. So
True.
yeah.
Okay, just to finish off our meeting here, what would you say so far in your career has been the highlight, the most memorable moment, something you are really either proud of or really, happy about?
I have several.
That's good.
Yeah. As I'm getting to be older and older, no, I'm young and handsome. No, just kidding. So, if I'm getting to be older, and I look back, I can find more and more beautiful moments, which seemed to be not that big, like 15 years before, because I was a kid, and I just thought like, oh, okay, that was a gig, yeah, that was great. But if I remember back from today to that days, I can, well, that was a bass player. That was I felt something, but what I haven't felt since then. So that was great. But at that time that was just like a gig. Yeah. So I have several moments. In these weeks I get again a chance to play with a fantastic saxophone player who is Chrisem Hunterem. He is a Grammy awarded saxophone player, and he plays with Michelem Camilo, the fantastic Latin piano player, since more than 20 years. And he also one of the top soloist of the Manhattan Jazz Orchestra, and he used to play also with Michaelem Franksem since 5-10 years. So he is a really big cat. And we did recording together first in 2014 in Brooklyn. And since then we did numerous tours and recordings in Hungary and in the States. The first tour was in the States in 2015, at the beginning of summer. And we did a tour in Hungary in the last spring, and we did again a short tour in the New York area 2 weeks ago, and that was absolutely fantastic. So that's always a great pleasure. And when he started to play, I'm totally happy and smiling. So he's a nice human being and a fantastic saxophone player. Also, I got a chance to play with several great musicians like Garym Willisem, the bass player, who is a monster, who is I think one of the greatest in the last 50 years. I don't know. He is really a genius. And we also did a couple of recordings together and some tours. He's a really funny guy. He's a big fan of mountain biking, and so he's a really nice guy. I could say a lot of great stories with. He has a really great sense of humor, and also I get a chance to play tours and concerts with Brandonem Fieldsem, who is also a saxophone giant, who used to play with Michael Jackson, with Babyface, with the Ripping Stones, with Tower of Power, with the Weckl Band, with many. He's touring actually right now in these days with Barbara Streisand. So that's something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but also I have some friends from Hungary. Who are totally fantastic musicians. So I have to learn mostly in the last 2-3 years when I've been touring a lot as a clinician and also as a musician, and I have to learn that it doesn't matter where you are. You can find anywhere on the world fantastic musicians. It doesn't matter if they live in Poland or in Hungary or in the States or in Japan or in India or Far East. It doesn't matter. So I have several
Good.
Great moments.
Good.
So I'm so thankful and I'm so happy with the music because I think I'm so gifted to have a profession which is my habit at the same time, and this is my passion, and to sit down to practice is always makes me funny. So yeah,
that's, I think, the best way to sum up our conversation. I mean, the fact that your passion is your profession at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I wish that to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, I tell the same thing constantly to my students in Hungary, in the university, and also by the drums collective. Like we are so lucky because we got something from somewhere, which is our passion, and we will never be sad if we sat behind the drum set and at least play something. You know, the practicing, it's sometimes boring. It's true. I sign. That's okay. But you know, for example, to practice a single stroke rolls during 4 hours in the floor tom, it's really boring. But anytime when I sit behind the drum set and I just start hitting the notes with no any rhythm or no any concept or no any backing tracks, just it makes me happy, even if I have the saddest day, you know, of my life. So
beautiful way to finish.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's my pleasure.